Hey guys, I'm back again with another film review. This time it's about the film Deathgasm. Deathgasm is literally the ultimate horror comedy, with a twist, because if you're a metalhead, then you're just gonna love this film. Deathgasm was released in the year 2015, and it was directed by Jason Lei Howden, who actually did this film because basically he entered, I think it was a script writing competition where he had to write a horror script, I suppose, and he won. It is exactly what it promised to be. The stereotypes in the film are pulled off so well. I mean, you have this kind of like cheesy problem. Well, I guess kind of cheesy to an extent, where you've got this metalhead outcast type of guy falling in love with this popular girl who's, well, obviously out of his league. But that is just developed perfectly. Like, I couldn't think of any better way to develop that so-called problem in the film. So, for those that unfortunately haven't seen this film, which I think you should because there is a sequel coming out pretty soon, basically it's about this metalhead outcast type of guy called Brody, who is played by Milo Cawthorn. He comes from a troubled family. His father passed away recently and his mother went all psycho or whatever, and so he has to move to his aunt, uncle, and cousin in the middle of nowhere in New Zealand. Basically, they're like balls deep into Jesus, as Brody describes them. In fact, his cousin, who's called David, bullies him at school constantly. And he happens to be dating this really popular girl at school called Medina, who's played by Kimberly Crossman. And, well, Brody fancies her. He makes all these friends, these two friends, Dion and Giles, who are total nerds, basically. But one day in a record shop, he meets Zach, who is just like him, a metalhead outcast guy. So they form a band called Deathgasm.
All spelt in capitals. Lowercases for pussies.
One day they come across something called the Black Hymn, it's a sheet of music. It's to summon the devil. They play it and suddenly everybody in their town becomes possessed by all these demons. So they're practically walking zombies. And there's lots of projectile vomiting and gore and just whoa! I just get excited. Like, it's so, I mean, it's done in a manner that's not like, oh my gosh, like, actually it does get pretty disgusting at some points, I must admit. So if you're like weak or whatever, don't watch it. I love fake blood, it's so much fun to make. Like, basically, this demon person is called Aloth. They've basically summoned Aloth to take over and have his, like, minions possess everybody in the town. They need to stop this from happening. The camera shots are phenomenal. I mean, they really do capture a lot of the atmosphere. The ones that I specifically do love are the ones in the scene where they're actually playing the Black Hymn. The acting is actually surprisingly good. Well, it's essentially a flick, right? And in flicks, acting is usually not that great. But I was pretty surprised by it. They were really good actors. Again, those gory scenes are perfect. We get all kinds of weapons. Honestly, we do. Look out for the part where both Zach and Brody are fighting off Zach's aunt and uncle, because they choose the most great weapons ever. I think they fight them off with a butt plug and a dildo. You get like literally the best puns ever. There's that scene where Zach's holding a chainsaw and he's just like attacking one of the zombies and he's like sticking it up the zombie's ass and he's screaming, "Metal up your ass, motherfucker." I laughed a little bit too much to that. Also, at one point, the woman that becomes Aloth, which that in itself is another story, she says, "Kill them all," which I don't know if that was meant to be a pun, but because of the Metallica reference, "Metal up your ass," I took the "kill them all" as another reference. There's many references, and that's why it's such a great film for metalheads, which is essentially great when you're watching it because as a metalhead, you're sort of feeling connected to the film. The whole film, in fact, feels like a heavy metal video, and that's any metalhead's dream, really. In fact, the scene where Deathgasm are actually filming Their music video is priceless. It's actually such a realistic expectation of what filming your own music video actually would feel like. And to be honest, the end result of their so-called music video is pretty cool. However, the most iconic scene in the film is when Brody is eating ice cream with Medina.
So you're in a band?
Yeah, I play the guitar. I mean, X.
It's so awkward and it's so amusing to watch. You just get this like straight up contrast between both characters.
Do you like metal?
Isn't it just a bunch of guys screaming?
No way. Well, apart from grindcore. And death metal is kind of like that. And deathcore, screamo, porno, grind, black metal, mathcore, thrash, and mortalcore, but apart from those.
Just a little confession. At first, I thought Medina was gonna be a really boring and weak character at the beginning, at like the very, very beginning. But when she slays that zombie with that axe, it's like, holy shit, she's cool. Even way before that, when she started listening to heavy metal.
Whoa.
I was rooting for her from that moment on, because I thought, this girl means business. And I like to see that in films. I like to see those characters who at first you're like, oh, they're gonna be weak. And then you literally like end up loving them. They're like your favorite characters. And obviously the soundtrack. We've got all sorts of really, 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 really heavy things. We get to see Elm Street on the soundtrack. And also Axe Slasher. So it's pretty promising. It's really, really promising. It's a film for everybody. I know it has a lot of metal references that, you know, maybe only if you're into heavy metal will you understand it. But I've heard some people talking about the film and saying that they're not actually into heavy metal, but they really enjoyed the film. And I guess that's because of its comedic element that is still funny without you having to know what heavy metal is all about. Or, you know, you still have to know what it is, but you don't have to know who Burzum are, or even Metallica for that matter.
What? I'm just mixing it up.
So that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you guys liked it. Please give it a thumbs up and also subscribe. You can catch me on Twitter at isclaudia123, and you can also catch me on Instagram at multi.vibe. You can also go to my music blog where I write a bunch of music stuff. You might like it if you're into music. I'll see you in the next one.